Welcome to Nashville as it's time for day number 1 of the Central Regional at the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games season. Brandon Domain, Rob Orlando with you. We'll also be joined by Mike Arsenault. As here at the Music City Center, we do have a 3-time champion when it comes to the regional format in the team competition, that being CrossFit Mayhem. However, while we have 5 of the top 12 teams in the world coming out of the Open, is it possible that their toughest challenger comes from their own gym?
The talent pool out here is absolutely amazing. CrossFit OC3 Black, CrossFit 417, CrossFit Alpha Dog, and CrossFit Mayhem Independence are all looking for that top spot as well.
Now, as we mentioned, it is the #1 team in this region in terms of the attention and the past 3 years and the results being CrossFit Mayhem. But the #1 team coming out of the Open, they don't have the name Mayhem. They don't reside out of Cookeville, Tennessee. They come out of Davenport, Iowa. For more on OC3 Black, we go to Mike Arsenault.
Thanks, Brandon. As you mentioned, OC3 Black, #1 in the Worldwide Open, and none of their finishes in the open workouts were outside of the top 10. I talked to them a few minutes ago in the warm-up area, and they said they're not putting too much stock in their open performance because their individual workouts. The regional is a different animal because it's all about communication and, of course, teamwork. I also asked them that the social media chatter is all about the 2 Mayhem teams. What do they think about kind of being under the radar a little bit? Well, they told me they've been in this regional for a while. They're used to being their underdog. They're not worried about that their position in the community. They're worried about how they perform on the field. So it will be an exciting 3 days of competition.
Thank you, Mike, and definitely going to be an exciting 3 days as we kick it off here with heat #1 and the opening test of the regional.
Brandon, we've got a double relay here. It's male-female, male-female format. We're going to start with 25 overhead squats per person, ranging in weight from 95 pounds all the way up to 155 pounds. Then the second part of the relay is going to be a handstand walk. Again, male-female, male-female, over and through obstacles on the course.
And the first 10 teams to start the weekend here in Nashville include a 3-time games team in lane number 8, CrossFit Grandview, and a lot of teams that kind of edge their way into the regional through the Open, but a couple of teams to keep an eye on include in lane number 7 with Maven.
CrossFit Maven out of Rochester, Michigan. I just absolutely love the name of the gym, and I was looking at their social media. It looks great, so I'll be keeping an eye on them. I'll also be looking at CrossFit Kilo out of Iowa City. They've got a second team that's going to compete in the next heat.
Stand by.
And historically, one of the most competitive regionals is underway as we send off our first athletes to kick off the first of 2 relays.
What we're looking at here is these guys have come across the line. They've got 135 pounds, and they're all going to do 25 overhead squats. For most of these athletes, we should see them go through this unbroken. It's not overly heavy at this level of competition. As soon as they set that down, that will release their female partner to come out and do the same 25 overhead squats.
Now, as these athletes start, there's still 3 more that have to follow, and then we have the second relay that'll close this event. What are you looking at in terms of success here?
Definitely want to lead with our strength. So you want your strongest athletes out in front from start to finish, because you don't want to create a bottleneck where you have good athletes or your better athletes sitting behind not being able to make progress. You also want to get through that handstand walk. The handstand walk is going to be the trickiest part of this event, no doubt.
First athletes already making their way to the double unders. You'll note on the ground there will be the numbers 75, 150, or excuse me, the 150 number. They will break up 75 reps in each of those 2 boxes. They don't have to stop. They can't jump forward, but the reps won't count if it's not within that second box after they pass 75.
I'm looking here at the gentleman with the white shirt and the hat on. His shoulders are nice and low. He's got good action at the shoulders for CrossFit 913. What I'm looking at for double unders here is to make sure, and you can see that athlete, he just jumped forward while he kept that rope spinning. No reason to break up your pattern. Just keep that rhythm going. Double unders is a rhythm exercise.
Now, is that anything you would want to change if you were the last athlete in this relay, getting closer to the handstand walks? Do you have that a little bit more leeway being in the first spot?
I don't know that I would change that. Again, For most of these athletes coming through 150 double unders, you're looking at about 75 seconds of work. It's not make or break. So you should be able to go through this unbroken. I haven't seen anybody break them up yet, and I think that's what we should see going through.
CrossFit Kilo 2, center of the screen, 2 minutes, 18 seconds. They will be the first team to send their first female athlete to the barbell. Her bar at 95 pounds, the lighter of the two for the ladies' weights.
Again, she's got 25 overhead squats here. You can see what we're looking for is to have those shoulders completely locked out overhead, big proud chest, getting well below parallel. We can see here with our athlete with the red bandana on, her hips get way below her knees in that squat, and her upper body is rock solid. So that's exactly what we're looking for in an overhead squat.
That's for CrossFit 913, second place after the opening athlete of this relay, but it is CrossFit Kilo 2 leading the way through the first athlete. They were actually on par with the event record pace of Don't Stop 1 week ago, 2:18 to clear through that first athlete. However, this is very, very, very early in this event.
It sure is early because we've got a lot of shoulders. This is a shoulder-focused event, keeping yourself braced out, locked out overhead. The double unders is also taxing on the shoulders, but what I'm looking at right here with the athlete with the red bandana and the white shirt on, look at how low her hands are, where her hands are, her wrists are doing all the work, her shoulders look very relaxed. That is exactly what we're looking for on double unders.
She represents our new leaders, 913. Second place now, you'll notice the blue shirt near the top of the screen, that in lane number 3 for On Track. Here comes the rest of the pack, tight behind your two new leaders here. And we point out how early it is. This event, yes, it's 2 relays basically. You have the one to set up the other, but when it comes to the final result, it really comes down to that handstand walk, which will be coming up later. This is just positioning to get there.
This is honestly a buy-in, Brandon. You just got to get everybody through this first portion of the workout, this event, and as they get into the handstand walks, that's where it's going to get dicey.
As in lane number 9, gray top, red shorts 1 moment ago. That's Centerville CrossFit also moving into the picture as our 3 leaders include 913, second from the left on your screen in the blue shirt, On Track, and then Centerville, your new top 3. Judge's hand up for 913. They'll make the touch at 447 and sending their second male athlete out. He'll still do the 25 overhead squats and 150 double unders. The weight does increase 20 pounds to 155.
For most of these male athletes, 155 is a relatively light overhead squat. We should be able to see them get through unbroken for the most part, and you've got to be thinking that you're sending your better overhead squatter second anyway, so this should not be that big of a challenge. Centerville
CrossFit, red shirt, black shorts, you saw them a moment ago. They hold the second position, but 14 seconds back from 913, who were through at 447, 10 seconds quicker than the event record pace. On the left side of the screen is the leader through the second athlete on this 4-person relay, that 913 on the right side, the right box of the screen. In red shirt, black shorts, Centerville, and then to the far right, Stay Strong CrossFit in lane number 10, who has actually moved into the 3rd spot. Second male athlete for 913, working on the double unders, and now the whole top 3 there. And it took him a little bit to get that rope going. Maybe had like a little twist into it or something like that, and that actually brought the rest of the top 3 right level with them. Bit of a stumble for 913, but quickly back into it. What are you looking for here on these double unders, especially as we get closer to the handstand walk?
Double unders is all about efficiency and trying to relax the shoulders because you know what's coming. So you know you're going to be upside down and inverted. The same thing if you were doing handstand push-ups. You need to try to relax and try to let your shoulders chill out for a second. So we want all the action to be at the wrist. We want to let the shoulders droop down. and we want to keep the chest up so that we're recovering and doing double unders at the same time.
913 actually now looks to be third place as this heat progresses. They were the leaders through the first female athlete. As they have their final athlete waiting to start. And that's a rough position to be in if you're that closer here on this first relay. You gotta wait a long time for a very individualized team event.
Yeah, you've got your team staring back at you, and you know that now the pressure is on you to pick up the pace and to come through as quickly as you can so you can get on to the next stage.
Red shirt, black shorts. You saw that touch of the chest piece at 7:37. Centerville CrossFit, the new leaders as we enter the cleanup portion of this opening relay. They have a 4-second lead over Stay Strong CrossFit, 1 lane over, and about an 8-second lead over 913.
And these ladies are doing 115 pounds, so 10 pounds heavier, 20 pounds heavier, I'm sorry, than the first female who went through. But they're still being asked to do 25 overhead squats.
Closing in on the halfway point in this 17-minute time cap event. Our top 3 all in this shot. CrossFit 913 holding the 3rd spot there in the left box. Meanwhile, in the right box and struggling is Stay Strong CrossFit on the forefront of the screen. And she'll actually set that bar down. That might not be the worst thing as she's in 2nd. The leader here in this heat, 1 lane above them in the gray top, red shorts, that being Centerville. As we clear the halfway point in this event, we're watching the final leg of this relay for most of the teams out on the floor at this point. 25 overhead squats, 150 double unders, and of course what is waiting them is the handstand obstacle wall.
And you always have to keep that 17-minute time cap in mind, especially in this first heat. You got to get those jitters out. For most of these teams, this might be their first time ever stepping onto the regional floor.
Early leader, CrossFit Kilo 2, sending their final athlete to the double unders. This is an event that really set the tone for what's a tough team competition, as 13 of the 90 teams in week number 1 were actually able to beat the time cap. So we're looking at something where you're only getting about a 12, 13, 15% success rate.
That just proves how difficult this test is. This is not a walkthrough workout, and like we've said already, the handstand walks, having 4 athletes that have the skill and the stamina and the shoulder strength to get up and over those obstacles within the time cap. It is very difficult to organize that crew of people.
Heat leaders, Centerville CrossFit. Coming out of Ohio, the number 14 seed out of Central East, leading the way here in the opening heat of the weekend. Waiting for a judge's hand to go up. That will indicate the final 5 reps on the double unders. And we do have that hand up and on track. They're right back on track as they fell from the number 2 spot early on. They faded pretty much out of the top 5, and all of a sudden they're here on the handstand walk first, which for more on the handstand walk, we go to Mike Arsenault.
Thanks, Brandon. The handstand obstacle was actually created by a regional team athlete who competed for East Valley CrossFit in the South Regional last weekend. Andy Tim, a former gymnast at Arizona State, and he's also the West Coast sales manager for American Athletic, and he created the apparatus. He told me that the surface has more tack or grip, and the foam is more dense than a typical gymnastics mat.
Thanks, Mike, and that extra grip might have helped out on track as you saw their athlete go unbroken for that full length.
Well, that's exactly what we were talking about at the beginning of this event, is to make sure that you lead with your strength. You've got to have your better handstand walk athletes out in front. Let's clear them out so that in the event that you need the time, you've got an athlete that might struggle coming up at the back end.
First female athlete to take on the obstacle handstand walk here for Centerville CrossFit. Struggling trying to get up that incline. She's going to have to go back behind the yellow line. Hands will have to start behind that yellow line as opposed to past years, so think similar to the open. Hendersonville with an athlete across. White shirt, blue shorts in lane number 5. 1 lane below them is Kilo 2. Maven is making their way into the picture as well in lane number 7. You're starting to see some of these teams flow into the handstand walk and have pretty good success early on.
Well, Brandon, we've got 2 obstacles, and what we're allowed to do, what the athletes are allowed to do on the first obstacle, if they don't make it all the way over and cross that yellow line that you see there with our athlete in the green pants, if they don't cross that line, they can go back and tag out an unlimited number of times. But if they do cross that line, they have to finish the course before they can tag out.
Impressive, and now 3 athletes through for Kilo 2, including their first female athlete, as she made that handstand walk look easy. And Kilo 2, they were the leaders after the first male athlete on the relay. They pretty much disappeared until right now, and they find themselves in the lead. Kilo 2, final athlete. She's got to make her way back down the stair step. Both hands will have to clear the line at the end, and they will do it. Kilo 2 is across at 12 minutes, 59 seconds, setting a quick time to beat, only about a half minute behind the event record.
Very impressive score for an event one, or for a Heat 1 team. Amazing start.
11 in the North Central region coming out of the Open, and they're number 1 here in the Heat. It's Maven. This is their final athlete. With that split leg handstand walk, it's effective. They'll make the touch across the line at 13:40.
I was trying to get your foot across.
They weren't a factor on that opening relay. 1 and 2 here at the end. That just goes to tell you that it's a double relay. It all counts for 1 score, but it really is 2 completely different events. Hard ball coming off the side of that. You have to do that at CrossFit Henderson. He had pretty good control early on in this relay. The first relay was on track. They're starting to struggle. And you noticed one thing there is once they cross that yellow line, they're locked in at that point. They cannot go back. They can't tag out. If you get to that first obstacle, you're unable to complete it, you are able to tag out.
What I noticed here with our athlete in blue, as he was coming down or trying to get into his handstand, let's take a look and see if he can fix it. His arms look pretty straight there, but as he starts to go up, you can see the elbows bend, you can see the shoulders get soft, and that makes this so much harder. What we're looking for is to stack bone on bone, and the straighter we can keep the elbows and the more locked out we can keep the arms, it's gonna make that walk a lot easier.
He got the no rep there as his hand left the lane. If that hand passes those outside, just consider them sidelines like in football. Once they cross that line, it is a no rep. Final 90 seconds until the 17-minute time cap. CrossFit Hendersonville taking another shot at the upward staircase. Lane 8, saw their athlete in the red shirt getting called on a no rep as his hand started above that line. It's a good rep in lane 2 for 913, and we're seeing basically an inversion of where they were once they got to the handstand walk.
That just confirms what we were talking about earlier, Brandon, that the overhead squat double under portion of this workout, it's a buy-in.
Lane 8, CrossFit Grandview, making her way down the slope, and both hands will pass that yellow line. She's locked in for the second half. Final 30 seconds on our opening heat of the weekend here in Nashville. Well done to cross that line, and Grandview will beat the time cap by about 20 seconds. That had all the feel of a PR kind of celebration afterwards. So we're at our final few seconds. Anybody that gets hit by the time cap will have 1 second per rep added. But CrossFit Kilo 2, the very early leaders, found themselves falling behind and then right back out in front once we got to the handstand walk.
And we can see on these overhead squats and the double unders, the work, this part of the event, it's just a buy-in. We're just trying to get through that part so that we can get to the real nuts and bolts of this thing, which is the handstand walks. And we're watching athlete after athlete just bomb out on the handstands. The shoulders are gone. The skill level might not be there. The strength might not be there. And what we're looking at in the green pants here with CrossFit Kilo 2, 30 seconds behind the event record or thereabouts. That was an amazing finish for CrossFit Kilo 2.
And CrossFit Kilo 2 in at right about the 13-minute mark as they set the tone. 2 heats remain with Heat 2 coming up next.
Ten seconds. Athletes stand by. All right, ladies and gentlemen, heat number 2. Event number 1, the 2018 Central Regional. Our teams coming out and taking on event number 1. Our gentlemen taking the floor first.
There you go, pull the hips to the top.
135 pounds on that barbell. And 25 overhead squats to get things started. In lane number 1, we got triple crown CrossFit. In lane number 2, Joko CrossFit. In lane number 3, 3 Kings Red. In lane number 4, the Trax Pack. Lane number 5, CrossFit 8085. CrossFit Omaha in lane number 6. Lane number 7, CrossFit Kilo. Lane number 8, CrossFit Lee Summit. Lane number 9, Coda CrossFit Norman. And rounding out our 10 teams here in heat number 2, CrossFit 8035. So there's your 10 teams here in heat number 2. The gentlemen advancing now into the 150 double unders. Once again, this is a relay style. So athlete number 1 gonna take on the 25 overhead squats, following up with 150 double unders. And then we're gonna pass it off to our first set of ladies. A tight race here for our first athletes. We wait to find our heat leader. We're 2 minutes in, 17-minute cap. That means 15 minutes remain. Got 2 judges, hands in the air. CrossFit 8035 down here in lane number 10. And also Joko CrossFit down there in lane number 2. Now on to the ladies, 95 pounds here on this first barbell. Continuing with the 25 overhead squats as the rest of the field now bringing out some more ladies. So on heat number 1, right after the overhead squats and double unders, all 4 athletes will advance to the handstand walk obstacle. Make their way to the finish line after completing the first portion of the relay. It looks like CrossFit 8035, our first lady now, onto the 150 double unders. Joko CrossFit advancing the barbell as well. So there is your 1 and 2. Now the battle for 3rd place here in lane 7 and lane 8, CrossFit Kilo and CrossFit Lee Summit.
Good.
CrossFit 8035, still trying to build on that lead. Yoko not far behind, year 1 and 2. We'll see as that continues. Now we're going to up the weight here. Once these ladies are done with the 150 double unders. That second set of athletes, a little bit heavier on the barbell. 155 for the males, 115 for our ladies. We're 4.5 minutes in. It's going to be CrossFit 8035. Tagging off. Their second male athlete now on to the 155 pounds, still 25 overhead squats. Going right to work, not wasting any time down here in lane number 10. And now 3 Kings red, as well as Joko CrossFit. You're 1, 2, and 3 here, just past the 5-minute mark. CrossFit Kilo in the mix still as well. CrossFit 8085 also in the mix, but it's going to be CrossFit 8035. Their second male onto the 150 double unders.
It's tied, it's tied.
CrossFit 8035, still our leader. It's CrossFit Kilo here in lane number 7, trying to track him down, as well as 3 Kings Red and Joko CrossFit. Joko down there in lane number 2 in the yellow top, black bottoms. Halfway through the 150 for CrossFit 8035. Remaining athletes. Judges hand the air down here for CrossFit 8035.
Come on, Mayor.
As well as Joko.
We need you.
To the final athlete, second female here, approaching the 115 barbell with 25 overhead squats here. Your 1, 2, and 3 CrossFit 8035, Joko, and CrossFit Kilo. We got 5 teams here working on overhead squats. Some of the gentlemen finishing up Coda. Passing off to their final athlete.
Let's go, Mayor. Up and out. Breathe.
It's going to be CrossFit 8035. Our first team on that final set of double unders. Joko, not far behind, as well as Kilo, still your 1, 2, and 3.
this move, or is he going to kick?
Yeah, we'll back to the red line play.
Yeah, get here.
Don't forget, folks, right after this, each athlete must make their way through a handstand obstacle. New test here, 2018 regionals. As we saw in the previous heat, that has become the deal breaker. We'll see. Not only do they have the strength to get through the barbells, but the skill to get through the handstand walks. 80.35. Really close to that. Final mark here on the double unders as we approach the 10-minute mark. Minutes in, 7 minutes remaining, athletes.
Good.
It's going to be CrossFit 8035, sending their first athlete onto the handstand obstacle. 8035, not wasting any time. That's athlete number 1 able to go unbroken and crossing that finish line. Joko also sending out their first athlete. Zero, 3, 5, second athlete looking to go unbroken, and he will as well. So just 2 female athletes remaining for CrossFit 8035. Kilo with 2 athletes across.
Good.
3 athletes across now for CrossFit 8035 as they send in their final female. Once again, all 4 athletes must complete the handstand obstacle in order to cross the finish line. It looks like CrossFit Kilo with 3 athletes across the finish line. Five minutes remaining, athletes, 5 minutes. Joko now with 3 athletes across that finish line. 2 athletes across for 3 Kings Red. So a couple of teams now onto that final athlete. Bringing their first athlete across on the handstand walk.
All right, you got one time. Do it.
3 athletes across for 3 Kings Red. Previous heat, it comes down to this final athlete being able to get it across. It looks like CrossFit Kilo is going to have an opportunity here. Here in lane number 7, it's going to be CrossFit Kilo taking that heat.
Yeah, buddy! No! I like it, buddy! I like it!
CrossFit Kilo here in the white tops. Able to cross athletes. That means 3 minutes remaining. Joko trying to be our next team to cross the finish line. One athlete remaining down there in lane number 2. Their third athlete across the finish line. 2 minutes remaining, athletes. 2 minutes.
Let's go!
CrossFit Kilo still our only team to get all 4 athletes across that finish line.
You got it, kid!
Joko CrossFit trying to wrap it up down there in lane number 2 still.
Finish it. If you know you can do this one, do it.
Less than 90 seconds remaining.
Hey, hey! Slow down. Come on, man. 2 more good attempts. Go like 15 or 20.
1 minute remaining, competitors. 1 minute.
Here we go. Come on. Deep breath. Do it for you. Do it for you. Go, you can do it. Right here. Give it like 5 more seconds.
Just under 30 seconds remaining, competitors. 30 seconds.
Let's go, Jimmy. You gotta go. There you go. There you go, Jimmy.
10 seconds.
That's it. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up.
We're going to count them down in 3, 2,
Come on, Jimmy.
1. That's time.
The next 10 teams to take on this obstacle course include 5 of your top 12 in the open in the world rankings, including a couple of teams that might not get talked about too much. Alpha Dog in lane 8, 417 in lane 7, but we got 2 Mayhem teams in 5 and 4, along with the number 1 team in the open, OC3 Black. And away we go. The time to beat 13 minutes, 1 second, set all the way back in heat number 1.
And into it. The first male is going to run across the line, pick up that bar, and overhead squat it. So we're going to lock out those shoulders, lock out the arms, get the hips below parallel. 25 overhead squats at 135 pounds for most of these athletes. In fact, almost all of them should do this unbroken and really, really quickly. After they've done their 25 overhead squats, they're going to move forward and jump into 150 double unders, and the goal there should be to go unbroken. You'll see them advance forward across the floor as they go.
Judge's hand will go up as they get to the final 5 repetitions on the overhead squats, as well as the double unders. And first team to advance to the jump rope. No surprise here, it's CrossFit Mayhem Freedom, number 2 team in the world out of the open, following up being number 2 at the games last season, which, as I mentioned on the update show, did not sit well with anybody from this team.
And there we see the rest of the CrossFit Mayhem Freedom team. Rich Froning obviously in the background there, and he's just waiting his turn. what we talked about earlier, Brandon, was to send your stronger athletes out in front and get them out of the way so that we avoid a bottleneck. But on that team, I don't see a huge weakness anywhere on it.
Everybody on this team were in the top 13 in the regional rankings individually. Obviously, they all declined that invite. One of the spoiler teams here in this one, as we work through our first athlete, actually coming from 8th Day Gym in lane number 1 out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Now the double unders, after 75 reps, they'll advance forward to the box that is the one right in front of where they start. So that'll be an indicator of where we are mid-set. All 10 teams working on the back half of this opening set of 150. First team to make the touch and get ready for athlete number 2 will be 8th Day Gym, 2 minutes and 18 seconds. Bottom lane of the screen, lane number 10, they're actually going to be in second, that Coda CrossFit. So we speak about the 5 of the top 12 in the open here, and early on, 1 and 2 are actually the teams that are on the outside lanes as they were rounding out the top 10 coming out of the open in this regional.
What we've seen, though, Brandon, is that the overhead squat double under portion of this workout, it's not a huge factor. Although it takes up, if we kept the splits the same, at 2 minutes and 18 seconds for our first athlete to get through that first portion, you multiply that out 4 times, I'm looking at over 9 minutes of overhead squats and double unders, and the winning times on this event are going to be somewhere in that very low 12-minute range. Event win would be about 12 and a half minutes. So there's not a whole lot of time on the handstand push-ups. That is the meat and potatoes of this workout.
Eighth Day Gym, and also now in lane number 9, CrossFit Kinesis are in the 1 and 2 positions. CrossFit Kinesis, one of those teams that might not be getting talked about a whole lot coming into this, but they were number 20 in the world in the open as they come into this competition, and they do have somebody in their sleeve with Kyle Kasperbauer on this team.
Kyle Kasperbauer is, I believe he's the only athlete to stand on the podium as a team, individual, and masters athlete. Unbelievable achievement, and he's a guy that I've known, and we've been in this community for a long, long time, so couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
See him there in the bright green shirt in the background. He will be the next athlete to go. No shock there that they sent him with the heavier barbell. Leader continues to be on the very top of the screen. 8th Day Gym, lane number 1. Does appear that in lane number 7, 417 in the number 2 spot, you see them with the gray shorts, red shoes, the bottom of those blue lanes in the center of the screen. But also in the mix, on the right side of the screen, CrossFit Mayhem Freedom. Everybody really, for the most part, our top 5 separated by no more than about a dozen seconds.
Double unders, you can see here both athletes are doing a really good job relaxing their shoulders. You can actually see their face. Their face is really relaxed. They're trying to catch their breath and keep their shoulders fresh as they move forward.
Mayhem 1, 8th Day Gym 2, but only separated by a half second. And we were talking about Kyle Kasperbauer not being a bad person to have up your sleeve. How about the 4-time fittest man on earth, Rich Froning?
I've actually worked out with Rich quite a few times, and it's so much fun because he's so capable and he's creative, and we just throw workouts together and we do all kinds of different things, and he's so much fun to work out with because he's literally has no issues with any kind of capacity.
Final 5 reps for Froning. No shock here that he's making quick work of these 25 overhead squats. It's the same portion of the relay, the only difference being the weight on the double unders being the weight on the overhead squats being 20 pounds heavier, as Froning keeping very tight on these double unders like you were speaking about earlier. Mayhem Freedom has opened up a healthy lead, as now in lane number 6, 1 lane below them, gray shirt, black shorts, is OC3 Black moving into the number 2 spot. keep in mind, event record from 1 week ago, and a team that's been chirping a little bit when it comes to the games this summer that will be there and saying that they're going to win it. Mayhem wanting to win it again. It's Don't Stop with the event record, 12:23. Then Mayhem Freedom actually in line with that event record pace, 4:57, halfway through the opening relay. Again, this relay, 25 overhead squats, 150 double unders for each athlete, male, female, the order, and then they will go into a handstand obstacle walk. The order at that point can change. 1 and 2 in the heat. Mayhem Freedom on the left, OC3 Black on the right. They were second and first in the world in the open this season, respectively. Froning making the touch at 7:09. They went from on pace with the event record to being 14 seconds quicker than that event record pace in Froning's leg of it. And they send out their new athlete, Tasia Persevitz. There is a look at how large this lead is, as now in lane number 2, 3 Kings Black, and in lane number 6, OC3 Black sent their athletes to the barbell. 3 Kings Black, a team we haven't mentioned, you saw them there in lane number 2 on that shot a moment ago. So 3 Kings Black, team that comes into this competition 4th out of the Central East, 47th in the world ranking in the Open out of Indiana. The big thing for them is on the men's side, they bring back Matt Rattay to the team. He went individual last year at regionals, but they added another weapon to their lineup, as Persevitz already working on the double unders for Mayhem Freedom. It looks like they're starting to put together a game plan in terms of the handstand obstacle walk.
No doubt they've rehearsed this. I'm sure they've practiced it. They probably know exactly what their order is going to be. Tasia's doing a great job at trying to move through those double unders efficiently. You can see she's really relaxed. She's had a couple of miss-ups here and there, but hopefully she'll get across that line. And again, if we were keeping the same splits from their first athlete through, 9 minutes, 12 seconds would be, if there were no transition times, 9 minutes, 12 seconds should be the clock time.
Time to beat here in the Central Regional, 13 minutes, 1 second by Kilo 2, all the way back in heat number 1. Again, that event record, 12:23 by Don't Stop, who was through this opening relay at 9 minutes, 54 seconds. Persevitz halfway through her set of 150 double unders at 9:06. This is going to be pretty tight to that event record pace. Competition where it might take an event record every time you come out here to get the event win, just in this regional alone. Two teams working on the back half of the final set of 150, that being Mayhem Freedom in the green top, black shorts, the center of the screen, 1 lane closer to the camera. The gray and black is OC3 Black. They are in second. Meanwhile, in lane number 9, very forefront of the screen, CrossFit Kinesis, rounding out the current top 3. A few more teams making their way to the final 75 reps. Persevitz making the touch at 10 flat, so 7 minutes remaining as Froning starts on the handstand obstacle walk. Again, 13:01 the time to beat. They've got about 3 minutes to send 4 athletes through this.
I have a sneaky suspicion we're going to see an event record here, Brandon.
Froning in at 10:20, still slightly behind that event record pace by about 3 seconds. OC3 Black working on the handstand walk. Bright green shirt, bottom of the screen is Kinesis. And that event record, 12:23, about 40 seconds quicker than the current time to beat here in the Central. And it's going to be a no rep there for OC3 Black. 2 straight unbroken for Mayhem Freedom at 10:44. And now they're level with the event record paces. Kinesis takes second place, sending Kyle Kasperbauer across the line. Matt Rattay across the line in lane number 2 for 3 Kings Black. Persevitz going first, and this is an interesting choice as she was the last one to do the relay to set up the handstand walk.
That means that she has not had that much time to relax those shoulders, so it's an interesting strategy here.
OC3 Black sending their first athlete across the line after a bit of a struggle on that second portion. Number 7's going up the incline. She'll have the downward stair step remaining. Both hands will have to cross the red line that you see on the bottom of the screen. She's unable to finish as OC3 Black has now sent 2 athletes across. The story of this event is it's not where you are when you finish the first relay, it's where you are at the end of this event. And we've seen some inversion when it comes to the final results of this one as Kinesis now with 2. So Mayhem Independence with 2. 3 now for 3 Kings Black. They have one athlete remaining, still a minute away from the time to beat of 13:01. The event record looks to be pretty safe as Perseverance crosses the line at 12:06. 3 across for OC3 Black. 3 Kings Black halfway through their final handstand walk lane. Lindy Barber halfway through her, she'll kick down. Who's gonna make the move first? 3 Kings Black, lane number 2. Near the top of the screen, white top, multicolor shorts. She'll be up just ahead of Barber. They'll both go up to the incline. 3 Kings Black making their way down the stair step, crossing the line, an event win for 3 Kings Black at 12:45. Mayhem Freedom number 2 at 12:51. And 3 Kings Black, the story coming in, 5 of the top 12 teams in the Open are here in this regional, but it's the team that was 47th in the world that finds himself at the top spot after event number 1.
This handstand walk is such high skill, and especially after the double unders and the overhead squats, the shoulders are so taxed. That high skill, that's what's going to swap the leaderboard all over the place.
Keep your eye on this team as the weekend goes. CrossFit Alpha Dog, definitely the quietest team of those 5 in the top 12. They were 11th in the world, number 3 here in the heat, but we will have that time from Kilo 2 in heat number 1 become a factor as 13:01. That time has been long gone. CrossFit 417 crossing at 13:40. And OC3 Black, this is an unfamiliar position for them. They're trying to hold on to a top 5 finish here in the heat. Unable to come down those stair steps with controls. We have 3 minutes until the 17-minute time cap. So 12:43 that time from 3 Kings Black. Take the event win, 12:48 for Mayhem Freedom. And then it's going to be Kilo 2 finding himself in the 3rd spot unofficially in this event. Bottom of the screen, lane number 10, Coda CrossFit. Unable to get those last few feet. OC3 Black on the right, Mayhem Independence on the left, as well in lane number 3 with Declaration CrossFit in that white lane. All working on their final athlete. OC3 unable to lock that out and finish that stair step. That's probably about the 3rd time now we've seen that. Mayhem Independence crossing the halfway point.
What you'll notice there, Brandon, if we're looking center screen with that yellow line, once the athlete crosses the yellow line, they're not allowed to tag out anymore. They have to continue to try to advance going forward. So once you're past that yellow line, you are out on an island.
But you are also good to kick down at that point. You don't have to, that's basically the restart point from then on out. As crossing that stair step, this is on the 4th attempt, and got a looked like a no rep. They're going to cross the line. I'm not sure what the communication was there, but 15:28 will be the unofficial time for OC3 Black, and actually they did get waved back at the Piers. As Independence is across. Okay, well, that time is going to be good, it looks. 15:30 for OC3 Black, 15:37 for Mayhem Independence. Sorry about that confusion there. As we hit the final minute of our opening test of the weekend. CrossFit Kinesis. They've got 2 of their 4 athletes across. And this event really over the first week and now this week, it's the have and the have not when it comes to this handstand walk. Next attempt on this obstacle walk on the incline staircase, that lane number 3 declaration CrossFit. Check back in on kinesis. Final 20 seconds.
Right back to it. Right back. 20 seconds. You still have time.
And event number 1 comes to a close, and I'm not going to say it's out of nowhere because this is a solid team in their own right, but how about 3 Kings Black stealing the show here in our opening event? 12 minutes, 43 seconds to take the event win.
Looking back, we saw 8th Day Gym jump out to a really early lead. But then it was Mayhem Freedom, super steady, athlete after athlete crossing the line. Rich Froning doing exactly what he does, looking steady and smooth, picking up the lead there. OC3 picked up some speed in the middle. They crossed one athlete after another, but it was 3 Kings Black with the win at 12:43.
So the 47th team out of the open, number 1 here at Central Regional, and they're with Mike Arsenault.
It's the year of the mustache. Definitely is.
100 points for 3 Kings Black here on event number 1. You guys were not in first place as you approached the handstand obstacle. Why was that such an effective movement for your team?
Well, so we practiced this event, obviously, like everybody else has, and we just found what worked perfectly for our team. And we knew that E-mode over here was going to need a little bit more time to recover, seeing as me and Skylar are super fast on our hands. So we took that into account before we even began the event, so that's exactly how we practiced it, and we executed. So everything went great today.
What was the most difficult part of the obstacle, the incline or the decline?
I'd say probably the incline.
Why is that?
Just because the stairs right away kind of hit your shoulders, but the ramp you just lean into it and kind of roll with it. So probably the incline.
3 Kings Black on top of the leaderboard after event number 1.
Thanks, Mike. And they rolled with it, and they rolled to an event win, 12:43.08. 3 Kings Black will top the leaderboard after our opening test. CrossFit Mayhem Freedom in second, Kilo 2, all the way back in heat number 1. We'll round out the top 3 with Alpha Dog in 417 in the top 5. Mayhem Independence 8th, trying to get 2 teams to go to the games as that ends event number 1. So the opening test is complete, and we got a new show stealer with 3 Kings Black leading the way, but still 1 event remaining here on the opening day, and that's next.
10 seconds. Stand by. All right, folks, here we go. It's going to be our first look at event number 2. See our team's going to work. 1 pair on those synchro chest to bar pull-ups, and we see different styles all the way down the line. And again, we talked about it before, whatever gets you through those chest to bars most efficiently. Stay strong, CrossFit, really pretty butterfly pull-ups. Same for 504 and Hendersonville. And behind them, the other pair on the true forerunner. Got him on the 1 minute mark, and the other pair back on the assault air runner. This is a 200-meter pair run and 25 synchro chest to bar pull-ups. They will tag out. We see it happening all down the line. A pair that just came off. The air runner will now head to the rig for the synchro chest to bar pull-ups. 90 seconds in.
does 25 single chest bar pull-ups while the other squad, or the other pair rather, is on the air runner, knocking out that 200-meter run. See some teams coming in with a game plan and sticking to it. You gotta stay synced up, especially as you get farther into this workout. There we go, got our first team making their way out to the worm. It'll be our first look at the worm here in the Central Regional. T-Town. 10 worm clean and push presses, and they are 2 in. Maven and CrossFit Kilo 2. Rolling through, man. CrossFit Kilo 2, touch and go on that worm. I think that is a sign of confidence right there. CrossFit Kilo 2, touch and go. Joining them on the back half of the first 10 is Grandview and Stay Strong. So right now it's Kilo 2, Grandview, and Stay Strong. Passing 3:17 on the clock. Centerville making their way out. CrossFit Kilo 2, short work of round number 1, and they will advance 3:33 on the clock. They dump the worm. And go back to work. And again, folks, this is 4 rounds. They are 1 round in the AC. They will advance forward each round. Grandview and Centerville joining them. Stay Strong. Moving forward. Just past 4 minutes, 17 minutes on the clock. Event record set in the South Regional just last week by Salt Lake City Black at 15:57. That's the mark they are shooting for. Our teams here looking to set the mark to beat for our remaining 2 heats. Hendersonville gets lined up. They will dump the worm. They will go back to work. Maven, Grandview, and I'll tell you what, Stay Strong. Those ladies have some pretty butterfly pull-ups going on in lane number 10. As do the fellas of Maven in lane number 7. Kilo 2, your leaders, going into round number 2. Passing 5:09 on the clock. We'll see if they are able to hang on to that lead. A little more than obvious that CrossFit Kilo 2 putting in some serious homework with that worm. They look very comfortable. Had the touch and go on point. Nice pull-ups by Kilo 2 as well down in lane number 6. They're the white tops. Got about 6 minutes. And here we go, Kilo 2 on the move, heading back out to that worm, making sure work at the rig and the air runner. The worm, a very simple piece of equipment, but yet very devastating team-wise. Grandview making their way out to the worm. Kilo 2 in the lead. Grandview solidly in second. Stay Strong making their way out into third. Kilo 2 still touch and go as they look to close out round number 2, 7:15 on the clock. Grandview coming out on the last half of their warm work. Centerville making their way out to the worm. Here we go, moving forward. Kilo 2 advancing into round 3 territory, leading the way, hustling back to the lead. No rest for the weary as they head back to begin round number 3. We're at 8 minutes. Can Kilo 2 hold that pace? Grandview top of the worm, and they will head back to go to work. So again, it's still Kilo 1, Grandview 2. See if Stay Strong can stay in third. Or will Maven overtake them here in round number 2? And Centerville and Stay Strong advancing at the same time. Centerville about 2 seconds ahead on that drop. They will hustle back to the rig. Hendersonville also advancing in the next round, making up some ground. Maven now advancing forward. Lots of work been done already, but only halfway done with what they've got to do. This is a 4-round event. Folks, if you're just walking in the door here or just joining us at home, welcome to the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games Central Regional here in Nashville, Tennessee. We are neck deep in heat number 1 of event number 2, presented by Rock Tape. Wide shot you see there on the Jumbotron or at home is of the ring and our synchronized chest-to-bar pull-up action going on. I was focused just now on CrossFit Kilo 2, your leaders, going into the 3rd round, past the 10-minute mark. A little less than 7 minutes remaining. Workout shakes out like this. If folks, 4 rounds, a 200-meter run. This is done in pairs, so there's a pair of athletes from our 4-person team on the assault air runner. They will complete a 200-meter run. As they do that, the other pair will complete 25 synchronized chest-to-bar pull-ups. They will then swap the air runner team, then completing chest-to-bar pull-ups and the chest-to-bar squad, and going back and finishing up their 200-meter run on the air runner. When they finish that, they will assemble as a 4-person team, move forward to the worm, and execute 10 worm, clean, and push presses. Hendersonville exchanging places. Again, we saw round number 2 close out with Kilo 2 in the lead. A very tight race for 3rd, going back to that rig between Centerville and Stay Strong. Kilo 2 tags up, and here they come for round number 3. Got about 11:30. We always talk about how important communications is. It cannot be overstated when you're doing worm work. If one person is unaware of what they're supposed to be doing, it can throw the whole machine out of timing. And with that CrossFit Grandview solidly in second, going to work on the worm. About 4 reps behind CrossFit Kilo advancing 5 reps done, 5 to go. Stay Strong CrossFit now putting themselves squarely in 3rd place, so it's going to go 1 Kilo 2, 2 Grandview, and 3 Stay Strong at 12:30 on the clock. Neck deep in round number 3. CrossFit Grandview advancing with 5 to go. And as Grandview gets things rolling, Kilo 2 advances into the 4th and final round at the 13-minute mark. They head back to the ring for their final look at that 200-meter run and synchronized chest-to-bar pull-ups. Your leaders, CrossFit Kilo 2 heading back. Grandview solidly again in 2nd place, looking to finish up these last 5. Stay Strong CrossFit, advancing towards the end of round number 3. Passing 13 minutes and 40 seconds, Kilo 2 shipping away at their 4th and final round. As they do that, here comes Grandview to begin round number 4. Making their way back to the ring. Got about 14 minutes. Again, time to beat for that record. Salt Lake City Black set in the South last week at 15:57. 17-minute time gap. Our teams here in Heat 1 at the Central Regional worried about putting up a solid time with 2 more heats of competitors to go. Making up some ground, Hendersonville putting themselves in 4th, going into the 4th and final round. Stay Strong CrossFit in 3rd, Grandview in 2nd, and Kilo 2 in 1st, with 1 to go. Just past 15 minutes, less than 2 minutes to go. On track, advancing to the 4th and final round. Coming up on 90 seconds. Eyes on Kilo 2 right now, looking to finish up all their work in that ring. And then 10 more reps on that worm and closes out with a time here in event number 2. That's a solid finish in heat number 1 of event 1 earlier this morning. Some cheering from their fans and the crowd, fans and family. See one pair done on the Assault Air Runner with less than a minute to go. Less than 60 seconds, teams. Out of sync there at the end. Looking to finish up 30 seconds. 30 seconds. And here comes Kilo 2. Less than 30 seconds to go. How many cleans and push presses can they get? They've been flawless thus far as a team. Athletes, 10 seconds. Gonna count it down, folks. 3, 2, 1. And that's time. We'll get an exact number for you guys. Great job, Kilo 2. And to all of our teams out there.
It's been a good day to be out of CrossFit Kilo. They have their Kilo 2 team third after event 1. They currently lead the way in this event. They'll have their second team in lane number 7, but a team that finished 11th 1 year ago is also sitting 11th after one event, and that in lane number 10, CrossFit 8035.
Out of Des Moines, Iowa, in the Worldwide Open 2018, 18.2, they finished 27th worldwide, so expect to see good things from them here. As
CrossFit 8035, along with 9 other teams waiting, as we're about 30 seconds away. And like we've said, it's been near impossible, but if you want to finish this, what do you need to do?
You need to have pairings that make sense and that you can work together, and we've said this a million times in all these synchronized workouts, the communication is everything, but pairings on the pull-ups and knowing your athletes' capacities on the pull-ups and then trying to keep everything in sync, especially on the worm.
And it's time to test your synchronization as we are underway. Pair 1 working on the run, pair 2 working on the synchronized chest-to-bar pull-ups. They'll flip and then they'll all work on the worm together.
See right off the bat, we've got some different pairings, some male, female, some female, female. And we also see different styles of pull-ups. We see some butterflies, we see some traditional kipping pull-ups. Again, that's going to come down to your pull-up capacity and how you work with your partner.
Now, the one thing it really struck me as interesting in week 1, and we see it again here in week 2, is the difference in the pairs that we're seeing. To me, it would almost feel like, all right, you got 2 guys, you want to put them together, you got 2 women, you want to put them together, but we're seeing a big mix when it comes to these pairs.
And I think, Brandon, that comes down to the actual pull-up capacity and the speed. Some of the guys, maybe they're a little bit taller, slower to cycle those pull-ups, the levers are a little bit longer, and maybe they've got a female on the team that just moves a little bit slower as well. So the pairing is really going to be a factor here.
Seeing some teams making the switch on their pairs where the one that was on the chest-to-bar will move to the runner, the one that was on the runner will move to the chest-to-bar, and that right about 1 minute in. So this has been very quick. The event record pace was 1:05. Had a handful of teams within a few seconds of that.
You can see CrossFit 8035 doing a really good job staying in sync there. Now this is really early in the workout, but you can see the athlete on the right-hand side is turning to his right. He's paying attention to make sure that they stay in that rhythm and they touch their bar to the chest every single rep at the same time.
Now, what does that do with the way that you actually move when you know that you have to synchronize with somebody else?
Anytime I've ever done any kind of synchronized pull-ups, especially, I let them determine the pace, and then I adjust my cadence based on them. So, you know, one person is going to move quicker, and they should be able to adjust their speed up and down to match the other guy.
Pull-ups already appear to be complete for CrossFit Kilo. Like we mentioned, it's been a good day for their affiliate. They currently have their Kilo 2 team in third. They lead the way, completing 3 of the 10 worm, clean, and push presses. In round number 4, Kilo itself, this team here, is 6th after event number 1, and they lead the way here in heat number 2.
And we can see right off the bat, got called for a no rep. What we're looking for here is for them to come up to the shoulder, pop it up and over the head. It has to be a push press. It can't be a push jerk. The tendency there is to re-dip underneath that worm. You've got to make sure that you pop the hips and stay fully extended. The arms don't need to be fully extended, just the hips and the knees.
This is a different worm than what we saw 1 year ago, and we'll take a closer look at that with Mike Arsenault.
With the change in team competition from 6 members down to 4, that means the worm has had to change as well. Last year it was 17 feet long and weighed 465 pounds, with sections between 55 and 80 pounds. This year, the worm is only 11 feet long, 358 total pounds, but the sections are between 70 and 100 pounds for these 4 athletes.
Thank you, Mike. It's not much shorter, but it's a significantly harder challenge for these athletes.
I'm watching CrossFit Kilo here as they move the worm forward. What I was paying attention to in the earlier heats was there was actually touch and go reps. So the athletes are coming down loaded like a spring, and then they come up and over again without stopping at the floor. it has its pluses and minuses. It's super, super taxing, but you can actually cycle those reps significantly quicker if you can touch and go.
Heat number 1, CrossFit Kilo 2's first round, 3 minutes 33 seconds. Heat number 2, CrossFit Kilo's first round time, 3 minutes and 33 seconds. There's something in the water there with that affiliate.
Forward.
So now they get to that second round, and this is where it kind of changes a little bit, as they've already gone through those 25 chest to bar pull-ups. You add that worm into the mix and getting back to that bar. What are they feeling here in round 2?
At this point, the early morning jitters of the first event are over, and now you've got to settle into a routine, and especially getting into the second round of pull-ups, you've got to find a way that you and your partner can stay together. And we're going to see some of these smaller sets. It's definitely not going to be unbroken here. We're looking at sets of 5, maybe even 10. But the goal should be to take tiny bites and keep making progress forward, as opposed to trying to take a giant piece.
Well, Kilo has 2 teams here and doing very well in 3rd and 6th. It's 3 Kings Red, the sister team basically of 3 Kings Black, the points leaders after the opening event. They sit in the 2nd position, but about a half minute behind the pace of Kilo, the current heat leader.
We can see 3 Kings Red doing a great job doing sets of 5. You shake the hands out, you try to stay fresh. The athletes on the runners, they're not stressed at all. You can see the recovery going on behind them. That's active recovery, just setting it up so that you can come back and do pull-ups.
Well, 2nd place, 3 Kings Red going with the mixed gender pairs. We have the same gender pairs for the leaders, CrossFit Kilo. They have already made the switch, and they're within their final 5 synchronized chest to bars in their 2nd pairing. 80-35, rounding out our top 3 after the opening round. Again, 2nd and 3rd still well behind CrossFit Kilo, who has opened up a massive lead.
With it being Memorial Day weekend, and we've got Murph right around the corner for most affiliates on Monday, everybody knows you've got those 100 pull-ups mixed in there somewhere. Just keep in mind what these athletes are doing in this test here, 100 synchronized chest to bar amongst a whole other battery of tests. So lots and lots of strength and endurance being tested in this event.
Lonely feeling, but a good feeling for CrossFit Kilo. They're the only team to advance to the worm thus far here in round number 2, and it's not even close at this point as they make their way back through another set of 10 worm, clean, and push presses. Unlike their co-affiliate team, CrossFit Kilo 2, they're going without that unbroken strategy here in the 2nd round. 5 reps down, 5 to go. As you notice, they'll advance that worm every 5 reps. They'll also advance it once they complete the round.
What I'm looking at, Brandon, as they bring the worm up and over, watch how they catch it on the shoulder and one motion, immediately pop it up and over. They don't stay on the shoulder, they don't stay under load. It's up to the shoulder, quick dip and drive, throw it right back over the other shoulder. So we're trying to keep that cycle time as quick as possible, and we're trying to avoid that time under tension.
7 minutes, 20 seconds, round number 2 in the books for Kilo, and as they cross the line with that worm, also crossing the line to get to the worm is 80-35, your new 2nd place team, but they are 10 reps behind as we have a massive lead for Kilo. And they've switched up their pairs here as well as they start their 3rd round.
Forward. 2, 1, up.
So we're at the 8-minute mark, about 9 minutes until the time cap. Again, we have not had a finisher here in the Central Regional. 3 out of the 10 reps with this worm, clean, and push press in round number 4. The unofficial score to beat by Kilo 2. Now we're seeing a huge pacing difference here when it comes to the chest to bar and the runner. It almost seems a little bit more relaxed, a more controlled pace when we get to the chest to bar. What's making this difference here in the pacing?
I'm watching CrossFit Kilo, and they're doing sets of 3. There's you can see the looks on their faces. They're very, very relaxed and composed. The runners behind them are actually doing really well at just controlling their tempo as well. But what they're doing is just chipping away at this event a little bit at a time, as opposed to taking that big chunk and really blowing yourself out.
Second place has a nice race going at the moment, as it is on the bottom lane of the screen, 80-35. They are just ahead of Three Kings Red. You saw in lane number 3 that bottom of the 3 white lanes a moment ago. As that's the race for second, but nearly a minute and a half behind CrossFit Kilo. So we're seeing the difference here as we've gone to the mixed gender pair for CrossFit Kilo, as they made the switch after round 2 going into round number 3, staying with the same gender pairs on the right side of the screen for the second place team, 80-35.
As we look back on the treadmills, the CrossFit Kilo athletes just trying to recover, open up the lungs, flush out the arms, and get your mind right so that you can get back up to that worm. But the athletes are just chipping away, 3 pull-ups at a time.
Now, earlier we were saying that it's almost a comfortable pace compared to that run, but we're starting to see those signs of distress there creeping up as we get towards rep number 75 for each of these athletes on the chest bars. As the worm awaits your heat leaders, CrossFit Kilo. In heat number 1, Kilo 2 got to the third round at 7 minutes and 53 seconds. It was 7 minutes and 20 seconds for CrossFit Kilo here in heat number 2. We're seeing a lot more of a struggle when it comes to the pair portion of the third round. The switch has been made for 80-35. And CrossFit Kilo making their way back to the worm at about 10 minutes and 50 seconds. Kilo 2 finished this round at 13:06. As Kilo is just about ready to lap the field for the most part here in this heat.
I love what they're doing with the worm as they bring it to the shoulder. I said it before, they just immediately pop it over the head. And if you time these reps, it's like a second and a half each. There's just no time under tension. So even though they're not doing a touch and go, the time under tension under that worm is really, really quick.
Already 5 reps down. Now, a year ago, yes, we had the worm here at regionals, but for the most part, you had to be a games team to have that kind of experience. Kilo, 4-time games team, so that experience has to be paying off here. We're seeing with both of their teams making easy work with the worm throughout this event. Now this is behind the event record pace, but ahead of the event lead pace here in the Central Regional. Again, it was 13:06 through 3 rounds for Kilo 2, 12:02 through 3 rounds for Kilo. Over a minute ahead of that pace. As our second place race, we do have 80-35 on the right. They hold the second position. As you can see, their chest-to-bar athletes are just waiting at this point. On the left side of the screen is Three Kings Red. They hold third. 80-35, the 11th place team coming into this event. Also 11th place at this regional 1 year ago. It's amazing how much this field separates in this event.
The pull-up capacity necessary to get this event done is just, it's off the charts. To be able to hang in there for 100 pull-ups and make them chest bars and work with your partner at the same time, it's really a tall ask.
I mentioned it earlier, only 3 out of 100 teams in the world have finished this event under the 17-minute time cap. We did not have one in heat number 1 as the unofficial score. 3 worm, clean, and push presses in round 4 is the score to beat, but 13 minutes in, we're starting to get close, and Kilo looks like they might be in position as the race for second continuing to play out. 80-35 still holding on to that. Three Kings now has company for third with Joko CrossFit in lane number 2. Those two teams on the very top of the screen. Joko on the highest lane. One lane below them is 3 Kings Red. Final 5 reps, and the chest bars appear to be complete for Kilo. They'll make the switch on the pairs. A little over 3 minutes remaining. Now the event record was 15:57. Doesn't appear to be in reach, but I bring that up because they made that switch at 13:15, about 40 seconds behind is Kilo. So based on the pacing, they've got a legitimate shot to beat the time cap and be the 4th team in the world to do so. 14:15 through 3 rounds for 80:35. It is a 2-minute, 13-second lead for Kilo over second place, 80:35.
Brandon, I'm watching CrossFit Kilo in lane 7, and they did this in the last round, and they're sticking with it, and I think it's the smartest thing that we've seen so far is to do sets of 3 on the pull-ups. Let's completely avoid fatigue. Why try to do 5, 6s, or 7s? If you can do 3 and you can drop down and you get a quick shake of the hands and you and your partner are in that same rhythm, you can do that almost indefinitely.
Now, if you're going with those smaller sets, you're taking a little bit more rest on the ground. Is there anything that those two that are on the runner are trying to communicate with them in terms of their pacing?
Well, if I'm looking back at the runner, right now one of them has completed his 200 meters, and the other athlete looks like they're about to finish as well. So now it's just waiting for the pull-ups to be finished, and then they're going to make their way forward to the worm.
I believe that should be 3 reps remaining for Kilo. It appears that both of their athletes have finished that quarter-mile run. And 10 reps is all that remains left, 90 seconds. Again, just 3 of 100 in the world have finished this event within the 17-minute time cap. It's a minute 20 till then. We might be seeing team number 4.
3, 2, 1.
CrossFit Kilo at this point, they're trying to keep up with Kilo 2 in this point standings. Kilo 2 third after event number 1. They lead this event with 3 of 10 completed, but now give the lead to CrossFit Kilo, 6th place in event number 1. They are now out in front, so they will take that clubhouse lead from Kilo 2, and with 45 seconds remaining, barring disaster, they're actually going to beat the time cap in this event. And the near impossible task is very possible for CrossFit Kilo as they're in the final couple of repetitions on the worm clean and push press. And it is a good day to be a member of CrossFit Kilo as they will be the 4th team in the world to complete event number 2.
They did such a great job at staying in rhythm at the very end. The tendency when you know you're that close is to start to rush and to try to move too quickly. They did a great job being really, really composed and staying together as a team.
Final few seconds, every rep will count. It's a 1-second penalty for every rep not completed on top of the 17-minute time cap. But CrossFit Kilo, 4th team in the world out of 110 now to actually beat the 17-minute time cap, and they take the event lead at 16 minutes and 35 seconds.
Our only team here in the Central region able to finish it out underneath the cap.
Little insult to glory, actually, here as you gotta walk that worm all the way back down the floor. But as they finish that, we'll take a look back at all the work they did before that.
In the first heat, we watched Kilo 2 do touch-and-go reps with the worm, and you can see they lock their arms, they go down to the ground loaded, and come back up to the top without ever really setting it down to the ground. Time under tension is high, but the time on the floor and to reset is really, really low. Their cycle time was amazing. It was a great win for them in that heat. And then we've got Kilo 1, completely different strategy for 4 different folks to bring it up. Quick cycle time on the shoulder, but drop it. Allow yourself to relax at the bottom and then work as a team to get it back up and over. Cycle time was a little bit different, but clearly with only the 4th team in the world to finish this event, that strategy paid off.
And the next 10 teams to tackle the new 4-person worm are here in heat number 3. They will include our points leaders after event 1, as it will be 3 Kings Black will be in lane number 2. And away we go with our top 10 out of the open, but we've seen a big shuffle when it comes to the point standings after the opening event. Time to right some wrongs if you were on the back end of it. Time to keep the momentum if you're up front.
Right off the bat, Brandon, I'm taking a look down the line and I see a lot of different strategies. We're seeing most athletes do butterfly pull-ups, a handful here and there doing regular kipping pull-ups. But one of the things that we haven't seen is athletes breaking this up much, much earlier. What we saw in Heat 1 was almost every team go unbroken on this first set. Right now, I'm watching a bunch of these athletes drop down after 10, 15 reps. So maybe the pacing and the strategy is going to be a little bit different for this heat.
It was small sets when it was Kilo who had that success. They've got that time to beat at 16:35, which kind of caught you off guard, but what are you looking for these teams that want to join them as an event finisher?
Well, Brandon, the important thing here is pairings, and what we saw with Kilo, they changed up their pairings on the pull-ups almost round by round. I think rounds 3 and 4 were the same, but round 1, 2, 3, there was changes in the pairings on the pull-ups, and that becomes really important, knowing how quickly you can cycle the pull-ups with your partner. And then keeping everything in sync, especially on the worm. The worm requires tons of communication, and that's what's required to get through this event.
Something to keep in mind as this event plays out, only 2 teams made it to the worm in round number 4. Both had Kilo in the name. Kilo 2 completed 3 of 10 reps of the worm clean and push press. Kilo in at 16:35. I do expect that there should be some teams, if not multiple teams, to join them as event finishers.
Be surprised to see one of these Central teams.
Mayhem Freedom entering this event in second, as it was 3 Kings Black that took the opening event, but in lane number 6, we've got OC3 to the worm first at right around the 2:05 mark. Mayhem Freedom will be second.
Right behind him, in lane number 5. We're approaching a handful of teams here, the 2.5-minute mark.
And just like that, about every single team working on the worm within about 10 seconds of each other. The first team to advance will be OC3 Black. It's early. It's not like they're in danger, but they come into this event 8th place in the point standings, a bit of an unfamiliar position for them, being outside the top 5.
Especially considering that they won the Open by such a gigantic margin with their worst place in the Open this year at 9th place. So really, this is going to be an interesting spot for them to be in going into day 2.
Far left of the screen, Mayhem Freedom. Center of the screen, the Heat leaders, OC3 Black, and they'll finish round number 1 at 3:07. And we were marveling over Kilo and Kilo 2 finishing that first round at 3:33. You got to go nearly a half minute quicker to the end of round 1 for OC3 Black. Mayhem will be second, Mayhem Freedom will be second at 3:24. Third place team will be in lane number 9, and that's Kinesis at 3:28. And OC3 Black on to round number 2. They'll have about a 10 or 12 rep lead when it comes to the pull-ups.
With a 25-30 second lead over what we saw in the last heat, this is an amazing pace, really, really quick pace to come out to. The question, Brandon, is can they maintain this? Can you keep doing that volume of pull-ups at that speed and at that cadence and stay in sync? Maybe they've tested this. Maybe they've got enough reps under their belt that they can see that pace.
One of the people that has always been the most hyper-aware of where anybody is the 4-time fittest man on earth, Rich Froning. You see him, no shirt. There he is on the center of the screen. Very interesting to see him watching the pace of OC3 Black, even in round number 2.
He's a master at it. He's done it for so many years, always eyeballing left to right to make sure to see where everybody is and jockeying for position.
So the men of Mayhem Freedom waiting on the switch, as were the men of OC3 Black, but that switch has happened at 4:38, and they're actually very early on, but ahead of the event record pace that was set a week ago in the South Regional. Still about an 8 to 10 rep lead for OC3 Black as they hold that slight edge over second place Mayhem Freedom on the left. The switch will be happening for 417. That'll be good for 5th. Those are the 3 teams that last year were just in a 12-round title fight all weekend long.
Guys look really, really smooth on the pull-ups, very relaxed. Gonna take a short break, hopefully recover, keep the hands fresh, keep the forearms fresh, jump right back up and stay moving. That was the name of the game for Kilo in the last heat, is just taking little bites throughout the course of the workout.
Now with Kilo, it was short sets but very short breaks. That was a bit of a lengthy breather there. Do you think that's the effects of the run, or do you think that they're starting to feel it here pretty early on?
My guess is that it would be the pull-ups that are starting to fatigue. I mean, it's kind of the overall, but it's just pull-up capacity. It starts to go, and as soon as that pull-up capacity goes, you need more and more rest time to recover.
A no rep for OC3 Black, and just like that, it's only a 1 rep lead over Mayhem Freedom on the left, as they've seen a 15-second interval disappear to about a 5-second span, first to second, getting to the worm for the second time. Walking into the bottom of the screen, CrossFit Kinesis. So 1, 2, 3 after round number 1, or 1, 2, 3 to the worm in the same order. So here are your top 3. Far left, Mayhem Freedom. Center of the screen, really on the right of that left split screen, the heat leaders, OC3 Black. CrossFit Kinesis on the right box.
And they're all taking the same approach where they're dropping it from the shoulder, having to reset at the bottom. But the pacing looks great. It looks really steady. We're coming up on that halfway point in the event, and now we'll see a little bit of separation. This is where the pull-ups becomes the name of the game here, and trying to make sure that you and your partner are working together and constantly making progress so that you don't get left behind. The other tendency, Brandon, is that your rest periods get longer and longer, and it's so easy to let 10 seconds, 12 seconds drip off the clock. And if you do that a handful of times, you've wasted a minute inside of the event itself.
OC3 Black completes round number 2 at 6:59, Mayhem Freedom at 7:14, as we have not one but 2 teams quicker than the event record pace set a week ago out in the South Regional. And it is also far ahead of the pace that we saw in heat number 2, as CrossFit Kilo was in at 7:20. That would have been good for 4th here in this heat.
What I'm noticing too is that we haven't changed the pairings at all. The pairings have stayed exactly the same from the start of the event to now, and we didn't see that with the last heat, that they were constantly shifting around and moving personnel.
Chest bar pull-ups complete for your top 2 teams, OC3 Black and Mayhem Freedom. And again, we're seeing that huge discrepancy in the times from these 2 separate parts on the pair portion of this event. As the switch happens for OC3 Black, and a 15-second lead is down to about 1 second now. Things just keep getting interesting on this pair portion. OC3 Black pulls away on the worm portion of this event, but when it comes to the run and the pull-ups, it's all about Mayhem Freedom.
Should make the last 2 or 3 minutes of this really interesting.
It's only 5 reps the differential, but how about this? We've been talking about small sets, small rest. Broke off about 15 for OC3 Black, and it looked like about 15 for Mayhem Freedom. We might be level. The event leaders, CrossFit Kilo, finished round 3 at 12:02. Meanwhile, the event record, and both these teams are ahead of their pace. SLC CrossFit Black, 15:57. Last week out in Salt Lake City, the event lead, 16:39 by CrossFit Kilo. The only team here through 2 heats able to beat the time cap. And OC3 Black and Mayhem Freedom both making the tag simultaneously at 9 minutes and 50 seconds. Still 20 seconds quicker than the event record pace. I get the feeling we're going to be saying stuff like that a lot this weekend. Quicker transition for OC3 Black. The team out of Iowa will have a 1-rep lead.
Mayhem Freedom looks more deliberate in their movements with the worm. They take a little bit longer on the shoulder once they've moved it over. So if we watch here, they'll bring it up. The team brings it up and over. They sit it on the opposite side for a full second or two before they unload it to the ground.
And to win this event, you might need to feel the buzz from this crowd, which this is a Friday crowd. Normally it's not this full, but here in Nashville, crowd definitely showing up early. So we're definitely expecting a sellout over the course of the weekend. And they're getting treated to a great battle for the lead here in this second event of the weekend of the team competition. OC3 Black in lane number 6. The team in the center on the near side here, now on the right. 1 rep ahead of Mayhem Freedom. 2 top 10 teams at the games last summer. Continuing to duke it out here, and it's OC3 Black with the slight advantage, 11 minutes and 15 seconds. They're still about 20 seconds quicker than the event record pace set last week. Mayhem Freedom, again, losing a little bit of ground when it comes to the worm, but they're still also ahead of the event record pace. And CrossFit Kinesis is right in line with it, but it seems like they're far behind just because of how fast the top 2 are going.
Sometimes it's demoralizing when you're out there on the floor. And yet that's what what ends up happening is that you've got this miscommunication, you drop the worm, you've got to reset, and bam, you just lost 20 seconds.
Mayhem with the quicker transition time, and they've been breaking off bigger chunks on the chest to bar pull-ups throughout. This has been the difference here. It's been a battle of what happens on this end against what happens with the worm. On this end, Mayhem Freedom has been faster consistently. All right, we get to this last round. We're about level when we get here. Is 8 seconds the difference after round 3. It was about equal starting the 4th round, though, because of the transition. What are you looking at that could be the difference maker between these two teams?
When it comes to this point in the event, it's all about the pull-ups and trying to make sure that you don't hit complete failure and that you limit your rest time. But now we can see all 4 men are done. They're just waiting for their ladies to get off of the treadmills and swap places.
This swap happened for the event record at 13 minutes and 15 seconds. The swap will happen for Freedom at 12 minutes and 59 seconds. 16 seconds quicker than the event record pace. Also ahead of the event record pace is OC3 Black, 10 seconds behind Mayhem Freedom at 13:09. We said it before, we'll say it again. It's going to take event records to win events this weekend at the Central Regional. This is a huge advantage out of the gate on the chest to bar pull-ups for Mayhem Freedom. Look like a set of 10. OC3 Black as well, looking comfortable on this movement. They might have a slight edge, actually. That's much more than 10 reps. They might be going more for 15. Again, the event record, 15:57.69. The event lead here set by Kilo, 16:35. Those about 2 minutes away from the event record, 2.5 away from the event win. As the Mayhem Freedom women are done, the men are done on the run, and at 14:09 they'll make the tag. They're a half minute quicker than the event record pace. This is an incredible pace. They saved their best for last easily as they have just mashed the gas and pulled away from the rest of the field.
So steady on the pull-ups. 10-10-5 on that last set, your last 25 pull-ups. 10-10-5 for the ladies. So strong.
2-rep advantage, make it a 3-rep advantage on the worm. Now, OC3 Black has been faster with the worm, but is it too little too late for the team out of Iowa? Fifth rep complete for Mayhem Freedom. They'll advance the worm for the final time. They'll have 5 reps remaining. Again, we're still a minute away from the event record, and we might as well just call it the former event record at this pace. 3 reps left. It's a 2-rep advantage for Mayhem Freedom over OC3 Black. Mayhem Freedom took 2nd place in event number 1. OC3 Black 8th. They're racing for the win, and it's going to go to CrossFit Mayhem Freedom, 15:29, an event record by a half minute. Also ahead of that former event record will be OC3 Black in at 15:40. My goodness, these two teams.
Just slugging it out second for second from start to finish on that one.
Getting flashbacks to last year where just consistently OC3 Black and Mayhem just setting event record after event record, and new 3rd place team, CrossFit Mayhem Independence, 4:17 getting to the worm. Still a little less than a minute remaining, but still time to possibly finish this event. As last week in the world, we had 3 out of 90 beat the 17-minute time cap. Here in the Central, we got 3 out of 22 thus far. 5 reps to go for Mayhem Independence on the left. On the right is CrossFit 417. 417 enters this event 5th in the point standings. Mayhem Independence 9th. Final 10 seconds. Bit of a struggle there to save that one, but it was nice composure for Mayhem Independence. Neither of these teams will beat the time cap, but they will find themselves 4th and 5th in the event. And another day, another event record for CrossFit Mayhem Freedom as they take event number 2, 15:33, 24 seconds quicker than the former event record.
Looking back right from the start, it was all CrossFit Mayhem Freedom, CrossFit OC3 Black, just battling back and forth, always keeping an eye on where they were in the pacing. The worm was really steady. OC3 Black was typically a little bit quicker on the reps on the worm, and then CrossFit Mayhem Freedom would pick up the pace on the pull-ups and the running. But round after round, you could see Mayhem Freedom just start to inch away. The transitions were a little bit quicker, and they moved to the worm for the win.
As it's the event record for 1 and 2 here in the Central Regional. It's Mayhem Freedom, 2nd place in event number 1, 1st place in event number 2, as they solidify a fantastic opening day. 6 people, 4 people, doesn't matter. Mayhem Freedom with another win. They take this by 12 seconds, and it is a great day for Freedom, who's with Mike Arsenault.
Not only 100 points here in event number 2, but an event record for CrossFit Mayhem Freedom. How does the worm compare this year to past years?
It's really similar, I guess. The front of the worm sucks, the middle of the worm's nice, and the back of the worm sucks, so same.
What was the strategy in terms of the pairs on the running and the pull-ups?
We actually tried it a couple different ways, different rotations. It just worked out that Tage and I had the same basic kip. And it was one of those movements that's chest to bar and running is a strength for me. So I could ease up a little bit, encourage her through it, and work as a team much better in that formation.
So your teams are named after the movie Armageddon. So Rich, does that make you Ben Affleck or Bruce Willis?
Bruce Willis.
Who's Ben Affleck?
Ted. He's on Independence.
CrossFit Mayhem Freedom, 100 points here on event number 2. Congratulations.
Well, I don't want to break it to them, but one of those teams in Armageddon it didn't go well for, but it's going very well for Mayhem Freedom. 2nd and 1st on the opening day, and it looks like they'll find themselves atop the leaderboard. So day 1 complete for the teams. Day 1 yet to start for the individuals, but that is coming up next.